tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dumbest game of football you will ever see, with a world record, a Premier League record of yellow cards, 13 or something like that. Guess who was the protagonist in this game, shooting out those yellow cards like nobody's business? Of course, it's the egg that nobody can stand, Anthony Taylor. Chelsea beat Bournemouth away from home in a crazy game of football, saved by the likes of Rob Sanchez. Yes, we'll speak about him. The likes of Jadon Sancho and Nkunku off the bench. And the most frustrating, peculiar, mental game of football you will see in a long time. And I hated most of it. But boy, howdy, we won it. And guys, 18 straight away matches. 18 straight away matches without a clean sheet. That's what they said on Sky Sports. So 1-8, Chelsea Football Club. No clean sheets. Firstly, what the ruddy heck is that? Absolutely unacceptable. Secondly, did you see it coming in this game? Because I ruddy didn't. This game was absolutely mental. Anyway, it's good to feel good, right? And after the international break, we always perform badly. Bournemouth, we always perform badly. We're away at their gaff. What else? You know, Iraola's a good coach and everything, but if you're feeling good, drop a like on the video, guys. Of course, I'm here to take you through everything Chelsea like I always am, so if you're a returning visitor and you're yet to subscribe, or you're a new visitor, do consider subscribing. Hit the bell if you choose to subscribe. Let's get into it. Alright, so yeah, man. We beat Bournemouth. This is a good feeling. And they are like they're a good side. We'll have a look at them here on the Sofa Score for some referencing or some stats and whatnot. Here we go. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 1. If you look at the this momentum graph here, it will show Bournemouth being the green, Chelsea being the blue. Though I did feel like at times there was a lot more Bournemouth there. And of course, they missed a penalty as well. Let's talk about lineups, baby. Let's have a look here. Very much a 4-2-3-1 from both of these teams. Now, in the absence of both Malo Gusto and Reece James at right back, we played Disassi, as you can see here, but there was no inverting fullback. And despite us winning with a clean sheet, which is apparent, especially away from home, it's just a rarity, I think it affected us negatively. So what we saw here, Enzo Fernandez, by the way, wasn't available. He was sick. So we saw Rob Sanchez in goal, Axel Disassi, and it was a conventional flat back four, guys. No fullback inverting into midfield. We always thought we'd see Cucurella do it. Let's have a look at his heat map. Yeah, look at his heat map. That is a left back. He didn't invert into midfield. So, no inverting midfielder. We saw a double pivot of Renato Vega and Moises Caicedo. More on Renato Vega later, by the way. An £8 million signing from Basel or somewhere. And they were like, why the heck are you signing this guy? And I was like, myself, why the heck are we signing this guy? And he does have, like, worrying moments as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. But he's built like a tank and he looked pretty good. We'll talk about the players later on in the video. So it was a conventional thing like that. So we saw Cole Palmer playing in the 10, flanked by Noni Madueke and Pedro Neto, neither of which were particularly amazing, and Nico Jackson up top. Of course, we saw 4 substitute appearances, Galactico subs, apart from Tosin, God bless him. Jadon Sancho, who already has got a chant from the Chelsea fans, was more just singing his name and, whoa, and all this kind of stuff, but they were really singing his name. That must be a sound for sore ears. Tosin came on. Disassi came off, which pushed Wesley Fofana out to right back, and Tosin played centre back. Felix came on, sort of did a lot of fancy dribbles and got beaten up quite a lot. And Nkunku came on and got the goal. The goal. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at some stats then, shall we? As you can see here. By the way, this puts us in 7th place, which I would have preferred to be 6th. Ideally, maybe we needed more goals to be got 6 on the goal difference. But hey, pretty strong. Forest, what are you doing there in 5th, you silly sausages? Right, stats then, guys. First half, 68% possession. Bournemouth outplayed us massively. We only had 0.19 XG, as you can see here, which is very poor. They created one big chance to our 0. They got double more shots than us. Rob Sanchez made 4 saves to their 1. We will talk about Rob Sanchez. Don't you ruddy worry, mate. Second half, a lot more better from Chelsea. Kind of the similar expected goals from Bournemouth, but we created that one big chance. By the way, so one big chance we created in the whole of this game. We created 5 against Crystal Palace, and we only scored 1. It just shows you how frustrating that Crystal Palace game was in terms of chances created that weren't finished. This was such a tough game. I knew this was going to be a tough game. If you said to me, Jan, forget all the narrative, you can take a clean sheet and 3 points, I would have ripped your bloody hand off and I'd start celebrating as soon as that was like in the bank, mate. So, and then it was pretty more even. They had 8 shots, but again, Rob Sanchez, 3 goalkeeper saves. They have more corners. Can I just say, take this opportunity to be like, Bournemouth are a serious outfit under Iraola. I mean, he turned Dom Solanke, who was a wonder kid at Chelsea, but his career got lost a little bit, into a £60 million player. 60 million quid to Tottenham, I believe he was. He's a great manager, Iraola, and Bournemouth know what they're doing. They're at home, whatever, after set proper under the lights a late game here. They just feel like they deserve respect. So they had the sort of dominant stats. We had moments where we were knocking it about well. But, it says on bench, Enzo Maresca booked. But there was also, of course, the fitness coach for Bournemouth was booked. Look at all these yellow cards. This is absolutely dumb. I think there's... hold on, let me just count this. 1, let's say 2 for the fitness coach. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What? It's a Premier League. Why can we just take a moment and be like, why did this happen? Like, how was this 1-0 win against Bournemouth, Chelsea versus, this shouldn't be any form of like a grudge match. This isn't Chelsea versus Millwall in the 80s. This is Chelsea 2024, Maresca's bunch of kids versus Bournemouth down at the South Coast. Look, I tell you what, right? I'll say it now. If nothing else, Anthony Taylor, who I was really, really fuming with early doors, when he booked Fofana for nothing. I mean, Fofana didn't have a great game. We can speak about that. We'll go through player performances. When he booked Fofana, I was really like, what, Taylor back in full flow. Do you know what I mean? But he was consistent, right? Because there was at least one Bournemouth player that should have got a second yellow. Was it Cook, or I can't remember who it was, or might have been Smith. I can't remember. And he bottled it and didn't send him off. But then again, later on, Cucurella definitely should have been sent off as well for a second yellow. So fair play to Anthony Taylor in that sense. He kept consistency. Mental, absolutely mental. Loads and loads of subs, of course. And the most decisive substitution for Chelsea happened... Well, you'd have to say Sancho came on at half-time, didn't he? And then Nkunku comes on. When does Nkunku come on? In the 79th minute. To play centre-forward. And I was chatting to my mate at the time. And I was saying, it's such a shame Nkunku doesn't start. And you guys, if you watch me, you'll know Nkunku's just elite. He's such a good finisher. He'll score scrappy goals. He'll score great goals. He'll score headers. He'll score with both feet. He's not a striker. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to occupy centre-backs. He wants to play off someone. So it's really tough to get him in this side. And I'd say it's just so tough with this plethora of attacking talent. But he's such a good player. And to have a side and not have Nkunku in it. Nkunku looks more Premier League ready than Joao Felix. I know Neto's played well in the Premier League, and Sancho looks like it's. To be fair, Sancho looks like he can. We will talk about all player performances. Let's just quickly go through that now, and then we'll talk about the key players like Sancho and stuff. Just quickly on Bournemouth, their goalkeeper was good, Travers. Evan Ilton, of course, he missed the penalty, the decisive penalty. Well, it was a great save. It wasn't like Onana making that save this morning against Southampton. It was a much better save from Rob Sanchez, but he was good. And Bournemouth were pretty good. They were a good team. They had loads of chances. They probably outplayed us in large spells of the game. But, we're here to talk about Chelsea. Now, Rob Sanchez, absolute superstar. The yellow he got wasn't even his fault, really. He was sold short by Wesley Fofana. He's got a very high rating here on on SofaScore, which I'm using. So yeah, let's have a look at the stats. He made 7 saves. It felt like more. Goals prevented 2.3. Okay, I guess that's an XG against thing. 74% of his passes are accurate. I mean, goalkeeper, they often make bad passes, but really, aerial duels. He won an aerial duel. He had that great moment as well, Sanchez, where he was coming out of his box and he was leaning forward. His momentum was taking him forward while he's holding the ball, so he dropped it and then he cleared it out of the ball. Which is great, really. Okay, let's just go through the players then. So I think Sanchez, not only was he man of the match in this game on the air, I think he was man of the match. I think it was given to Nkunku on Sky Sports. Rob Sanchez is my man of the match. And I've been very, very mindful about me accepting him as Chelsea's number one. But bro, you drop some performances like this, you can win my heart, Robbo. And yeah, Jorgensen will be watching that like bloody hell, which is great. This is what we want, this is what we want. Jorgensen will get points, and it is Jorgensen, not Jorgensen apparently. He will get chances in the league phase of the Conference League, of course you will. But while Rob Sanchez is making moves like this, I imagine he's still got a clanger in him, but for the moment, superb. Alright, Kukurea all over the gaff, probably should have got sent off, but also was really, really effective going forwards. I think Levi Colwill was great. Fofana has got a high rating. Obviously, he went to play right back here, as you can see on the heat map in the parts of the second half. He sold Sanchez short, Wesley Fofana, for what led to be the penalty, which is a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake. But he is a great, I'm a massive fan of his profile, his style of play. I like how he gets forward. I think he's a really aggressive defender, and he's actually really underrated technically. Like, you see him get up there and he'll like mix it with Noni Madueke and Cole Palmer. In fact, that was even demonstrated in this game. I love Wesley. He's not had the most solid start. A lot of people have spoke positively about the partnership between the Fofana and Colwill and the promise and the capacity to be great. But yeah, out of the two, Colwill has been more solid. I know Wesley's got a higher rating here on SofaScore. I think Moises was good. One of the very, very few players not to get booked, but he was wearing the captain's armband, so that's good. Renato Vega, let's speak about him a little bit, because he's a very interesting player. Of course, he was actually as a starting midfielder here. And he can dance, bro. He's not just like a conventional CDM stopper. Oh, it's going to stop transitions and turnovers. And by the way, this game, it had like 1,000 turnovers in. You have the ball. I know it's a lame comparison, but it really was a basketball match. And it wasn't so much necessarily transitions up and down, but it was kind of like scrambly, just loads of middle of the pitch turnovers. The ball was just, no one knew what the ruddy heck was going on, which both managers like Maresca and indeed Iraola, they'd hate that. Guardiola would have watched this game, he probably would have passed out. But Renato Vega, really, really interesting. He has these little like sort of clumsy moments that make you worry, but then again, he has these moments where he can turn when being pressed and move up the pitch, and he's just turned 21, I believe, Renato Vega. I think I said before, he could turn out to be like an Azpilicueta-esque signing in terms of cost absolutely nothing from Europe, and turns out to be an absolute baller, a versatile player, much like Azpilicueta. Caicedo, great. Of course, let's talk about the attackers. Pedro Neto, Noni, I think, did okay, but he was doing that thing when he looks really like visually frustrated, and like that really annoys me, and it's kind of got this air of petulance. And I was saying on my Instagram that at Football Yannick, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that I feel like maybe we sub Noni for Sancho and moved Neto over. Of course, it was the other way around. Noni stayed on for quite a while, and Neto was subbed for Jadon Sancho. Cole Palmer was probably in the first half by far the best attacker. Of course, he drifted to the right, but he ended up as a right winger as well when Joao Felix came on, because Joao Felix played in the 10, which meant Palmer played on the right and Jadon Sancho played on the left, behind originally Jackson, then Nkunku, right? So I think in the first half, Palmer was by far our best attacker, but he did look a bit frustrated himself, and he wasn't happy with a couple of things, with how his own Chelsea teammates were operating around him. He looked very frustrated about them not doing certain things. And then he was very frustrated that he had the crap kicked out of him, essentially. That was and this will happen to him now. After last season, he's going to get the treatment, you know, they're going to stick a couple of players on him and try and rough him up a bit and not let him cook, basically, because that's been, you know, what's just what happens in football since the dawn of time, you know. Of course, you've seen it with, like, all the sort of little wizards we had, and probably Eden Hazard was our last player, really, that we saw him, you know, getting the proper treatment. Nico Jackson up top was very disappointing. He did some good stuff. The fact that he got that yellow card for dissent was disappointing, but he did some good runs. He does good stuff, Jackson, sometimes better than others. In terms of substitutes, probably most disappointed in Joao Felix. A few good dribbles, but he was not responding well to being roughed up a little bit. Tosin was fine, I think. He came in for Disassi, which moved Fofana out to the right back position. Fofana, like everyone else, apart from Disassi, the whole back line was booked. And so which was quite funny, really, because Maresca's taking off the only player in the back four that doesn't have a yellow. But it means Wesley Fofana doesn't have to make any last-ditch tackles. He's a little bit more protected out wide. And like I said, he's a good footballing technician, Fofana, so he can get forward and be comfortable in the final third. And then Tosin can be a little bit more of that risk taker without not being on a card. And of course, a huge speak about Sancho. Well, firstly, Nkunku. I don't need to talk much about Nkunku, guys. You know me. I think he's such a good player. I feel like it's like a travesty that he completed all his passes. It was only 5 out of 5. His goal was from an XG of 0.14. So, and he completed all his dribbles and won all his duels. So he came on and did everything right. Nkunku. But he was, of course, got there. So he's great. You know, you've got to find a way to get Nkunku into the team, especially he's a little bit older as well. He's 26 and all these other men are like 24 and under. So just that little bit of experience. And bearing in mind, he's played a lot for France. He's played for PSG. He's played for Leipzig. You know, he's a confident player, Christo. And he's been at Chelsea for a while now, so he really should be in this team if Maresca can find a way. And then of course Jadon Sancho came on and just changed the game, bro. I know he got that silly yellow for dissent, but who friggin' didn't get booked in this game? But he completed a couple of dribbles. He's very accurate in his passing. He won a couple of duels. He could execute a long ball. He didn't lose possession that much, which is great as a risk taker. And of course he got the assist and made 2 key passes actually, which is very, very good for the time he came on. If you make 2 key passes in 45 minutes and get an assist, you are a top baller. Guys, it's a big win, I must say. I would have done anything to get a win away at Bournemouth. I predicted 2-1 when I was chatting to people on Instagram, and to be honest, all things considered, having a clean sheet and all things considered in that absolutely insane, crazy game, a 1-0 is probably better than a 2-1. Especially with Jadon Sancho coming off the bench and getting a goal involvement immediately to show his value. Let me know what you think. Woo! Yeah, very keen to hear your thoughts on this one, guys, so please leave them down in the comments. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I can't wait to see you back here on the channel. Take care. Peace.